run the gamut of figuring out, what do you do each day now? How does it make you feel? How do you want to be prioritizing things? Like, how would you have prioritized those days had you had this framework beforehand? The next step, which is actually the magic step, is designing your day with intention. Okay. So there is a couple of different versions of the design your day template, because some people really like to design their day like at 6 o'clock I'm going to do this, at 7 o'clock I'm going to do this, and so on and so forth. Other people want to have it be more loosey-goosey, like, well, I know that I want to meditate in the morning, and I know that I want to go to bed by a certain time, but like I kind of want to be a little bit more loosey-goosey about it. So both of those are in there. Neither one is right or wrong. It really just depends on what's comfortable for you. You can also kind of combine the two, right? Where you have you create the really strict schedule for yourself, knowing that you're going to play around with it a little bit and giving yourself some breathing room. Now, here's the thing about this schedule. This isn't about making sure that you stick to it exactly, because that's going to be impossible and it's exhausting. What it really is about is giving yourself the opportunity to see what you would like your day to look like, right? Because for many of us, we sort of try to organize things in our day or figure out how we want to manage our week, but we do it based off of the circumstances that exist, right? So it's like, oh, well, I got to take Jimmy to soccer on this day, and I've got to go to the dentist on this day, and so on and so forth. And so when we start planning our day and our schedules and our lives, it starts with around those items that are already in there. What I want this exercise to be more about is, how would I live my day if I could live it the way that I wanted to? Okay, so for me, it's get up at 5, which at the moment I'm getting up at 6:30, sometimes 7, because my body has told me that it needs a lot of rest. But typically, I was getting up at 5:30. I really enjoy it. I love getting up early. I like being up before the world, right? So that's where it starts. And I also like to have 4 hours. 4 hours now. I like to have 2 to 3 hours of really chill time. It makes me feel like I've almost had a full day before I even start work. And then I'll typically start work at 7:30, 8, and that's really a loose work starting. It's not like I'm sitting down and buckling in. It's me kind of going to my desk. Oh, I'm still got to get my tea. There's a transition period, right? And so I build the transition in. So from 7 to 8, I'm typically transitioning into work, right? And then work, right? So I know that first part is what I want to do. Now, am I doing it all the time? No. But what do I want to be doing in that time? Well, I want to make sure that I'm eating my breakfast. I want to make sure that I am taking a shower, doing my cold plunge. There's some specific things every morning that I want to make sure that I do, because those are the things that make me happy. So I know that as long as I can get those things done, it doesn't actually matter when I get up. So I want to get up at 5 and I want to have this delightful transition. Is that happening? No. What is happening, though, is I'm getting up at around 6. I'm able to do my morning routine, get the things I need to done in a chill way, and then have my 7 to 8 o'clock transition time, and then I'm hardcore into work by 8:30, right? And so, fabulous. That lets me do what I want, but you'll see that I'm not following my exact philosophy. I'm getting close enough for right now. When I'm feeling like my body is rested, I'll move back up to 5 o'clock. So it's not really so much about making sure that you're adhering to exactly what you have written down in your design, as much as it's making sure that you understand that what things you're putting on your paper or your schedule, because it is something that is important to you. It brings you joy. It creates progress. It develops or deepens a relationship, whatever it is, right? So for some people, it might be, I want to have dinner with my family. I want to clock out at 5 and have dinner with my family every night. Okay. And why do you want to do that? Let's say it's I want to clock out at 5 because I want some time during the day where I'm not thinking about work, and I haven't been able to do that lately. Perfect. Okay. So now you know that the real goal right now is for you to have time that you are not thinking about work. So you may have days where you're a little bit later, a little bit earlier, right? But you know that when you're clocked out, you are going to close your mind off. So that's the thing you're really trying to achieve, right? To make sure that you feel like you did good that day. In addition, let's say you know that 5 to 6, that you may not always get up at 5. It might be 6, 6:30, right? So dinner may always be at 6:30. Maybe someone else makes dinner. Do you see where we're going with this? Where the idea is really to figure out how we can create a journey towards that life, but you can't create the journey if you don't know where you're trying to go. and without knowing what our destination is. So for many of us, we know kind of in our minds, God, I just wish I didn't have to work so much. That's a very esoteric thing. You can't grab onto it, and your mind doesn't know how to take action to achieve that goal. But if you design your day in this way, then your mind now can, okay, I understand the framework we're going to. Now you may be asking, wait a minute, I've done this before where I've designed this and I've said every hour, every minute, this is what I'm doing, and it doesn't work. Here's why it doesn't work. Is because typically, if you think back to what we talked about earlier, typically we're going to do like time blocking, or we're going to set these times and be very concrete about it. The rigidity of that schedule requires an enormous amount of effort. I don't work that way because that makes you more likely to fail at the activity. The more emotional effort it takes for you to actually do the thing, the less likely you are to do it in the long term, because your body your actual physical body does not find that to be a good use of energy, calories. It would rather use those calories to stay alive, breathe, do just about anything else. So what we need to do is work with the way the body works, right? And the way the body works is that it finds change scary, but if you give it a little bit of wiggle room, it feels safe enough to let it move forward. So we're going to create the vision of what you want your day to look like. And then you're going to figure out the steps as you go. So some of those things may be, okay, I know that every morning I get 15, 20 emails. I've looked at my 15, 20 emails for the last 6 weeks, and I didn't need to answer more than 6 of them at that time. So I'm actually just not going to look at my email until 10. So I have a lot of students and clients who, over the years, they just stop checking email until later on in the day. I check my email first thing. I have a limited time where I check it, and it's like, this is when I'm checking it, and I'm done, and I'm moving on to the next thing. I don't let my email determine my to-do list. So I've given you some guidelines about how you may want to organize this. Really, the idea is be as rigid in terms of your design, or as loose in terms of your design as you want to be. You can both loosen up and tighten it up. That's your design. In terms of how you implement it, the way that I really want you to be thinking about it is more, what's a step, a tiny step, and you will find the steps as you go and as you go through these processes, which is why the first time of going through the reclaim process is typically longer than doing it, say, the second, third, fourth, fifth time, because this is the first time you're sort of figuring out the lay of the land. Kind of like when you're, anytime you need to start a new language, a new skill, riding a bike, any of those things, it requires a little bit of repetition before you're like, okay, I get it, right? I know, I see what we're doing here. So this is your initial sort of, and if you've done this kind of exercise before, then you're in great shape, because this is going to be the repetition part, and you'll be able to take off with this even faster. The key thing to keep in mind, though, is that the whole purpose of this exercise is for you to have control over how you engage with your day, what activities you engage with, who you talk to, right? And at the moment, it's being determined by emails, by pings, by notifications, by text messages, by DMs, and that kind of thing, right? What we're trying to do here is sort of reframe that so that you are guiding the way that your day goes. Because again, the river is going to flow of time. It's just going in that direction. So either we're going to thrash wildly trying to get the river under control, or we're going to say, okay, that's the way it's going. How can I ride this current? This has always been one of my favorite exercises, because going through it creates so much satisfaction. Like the feeling of, I have my hand on everything and I get what I'm doing. Like, that's a feeling I love. Who doesn't love that feeling, right? And it's so easy for me to lose that feeling. So easy, right? Just because of the way our job is, it can get derailed very quickly. And I started working on this tool back when I started in research administration about 5 years into my career, because I just realized that the train just kept going, and it would I'd be buried in work before I even knew it. And I was like, I can't live like this. I have to find a different way. And it took me a while, but ultimately I eventually found enough tools, resources, got enough coaches to kind of figure this out. And then over the years, I began training and coaching people on it, because I was seeing such success. My mentees were seeing such success. And that's why I just give it away, because I really love research administration. I love this job so much. I'm so passionate about it. If you're not a research administrator and you watch this whole video, kudos to you. And please message me. I'd love to tell you more about research administration. It's such a great career. But I think that the way it has evolved over the last several years with such an administrative burden, so much work, it's become a much more subject matter expertise type job, which, I mean, you can learn it. It's not a problem. But the way that the hospitals and investigators still typically see it is like an administrative position, which makes it very challenging because we feel a little bit underappreciated. But aside from all of that, I think all that would be fine if we didn't feel so overwhelmed and like we were living, like we were basically working all the time, right? Like for many, myself and others, for many people, the joy of research administration is kind of being sucked out by the fact that there's just such a burden and so much effort. Some of it we're not going to be able to resolve because it's coming from other places and there's nothing we can do about it. And so for me, the most important thing is what can I control and what are some of the things that I can do to ensure that I am in a good position for the unexpected, and for these things that I know are coming, right? So like the additional paperwork and compliance, I know that's all coming. Right? I know typically in a month, we know what a lot of our crises are that are going to show up because they show up every month. What can I do to set my schedule up so that when those things do appear, I can slide them in with confidence rather than letting it derail my day. And so that is really what this is about. It's about being able to ride the river adeptly with skill and grace. About riding the river with skill and grace so that you can get exactly what you want at the end. I cannot wait. I'd love to hear how the Reclaim Your Schedule works. So once you've tried it, send me an email, send me a message, what you found, post on feel free. I would love to hear how it works. Those things are always very exciting. I love to see like what did you look at that you were like, oh my god, why am I doing this? It's so awesome. All right, you've got the workbook, you've got the videos. Let's pause this. I need to come back to that. You've got the desire. Now it's time for you to go reclaim your schedule. Send me an email. Comment on this post. Let me know how it went for you. I cannot wait to hear how awesome you feel after having gone through it just once. And to make sure that you don't miss any content from me, don't forget to like me on social media, subscribe, and follow me.